This is the Art of Network Engineering podcast. In this podcast, we'll explore tools, technologies, and talented people. We aim to bring you information to expand your skill sets and toolbox and share the stories of fellow network engineers. Welcome to another episode of the Art of Network Engineering. Don't you guys love that intro music? So catchy. Just gets me going.
Pumps me up.
I know. I love that when we were trying to figure out what the intro music should be, it was just kind of this unanimous, like, oh yeah, that's it. That's the sound. That's our podcast right there. Good evening. I am AJ Murray at No Blinky Blinky. And tonight on the panel, we have Dan at No Tweety Tweety.
Nice.
But we're going to roll that poll soon, and we're going to see what Dan's social media future looks like. Right, Dan?
I vote for Howdy Packet. I like Howdy Packet.
Howdy Packet. Yep.
Howdy Packet.
However you say OSPF with a little southern twang. Although I guess they all have a hello packet, so it doesn't have to be OSPF specific.
Sure.
Andy, how you doing?
I'm fantastic. Excited to be here. Just doing jumping jacks before the show. I'm all pumped up.
I could tell.
Talk to our guests.
I could tell.
Yeah, man.
How's the encore studying going?
It's all right. I sat down for an hour the other night trying to study spanning tree, and I just loathe spanning tree. So
Don't we all?
it wasn't all that successful. And then I had to do some spanning tree stuff at work, which was more fun. So spanning tree's been in my life this week.
You're trying to get away from it, and there it is. Turn around.
Yeah, I can't get away from spanning tree. So it's good. I've started again. So yay. Process is underway.
Excellent. Andy at permit, or no, I'm sorry. Andy at Andy Laptop, permit IP Andy.
If you Google permit IP Andy, you'll find all my stuff on that page.
Are you like the first hit if you Google permit IP Andy?
There's 5 or 6 results and it pulls up all my stuff.
Or is there like an imposter IP Andy?
Until I get my website up and make it easier. Now you don't have to announce both. Permit IP Andy on Google, you'll find my stuff.
Excellent. Yeah. And I am super excited tonight for our guest. Her name is Shala, although you might know her better as Gifted Lane. Good evening, Shala.
Hey, how's it going?
Super excited to have you on. Been following you for a very long time, as have lots of other people. And I'm super excited to learn more about you tonight. So again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
So I'm going to cut right to the chase because I got to know, where did Gifted Lane come from?
It actually came from my husband. Like one day, he's actually a music producer, so he's a creative as well. And anyways, he came home one day and he's just like, you know what? You're like Gifted Lane, because I was drawing. So if I'm not tinkering with tech stuff, I might be sketching something, painting, whatever. And he's just like, you're always doing stuff. So he's just like Gifted Lane. He's like, you don't fit in one box. There's several things that you do.
That's very cool.
I like that.
That's really cool. I saw he got you the street sign too to go with it. That's really cool too.
He did. Yes.
Excellent. So let's kind of start where are you at now? Well, what do you do? What's your current place in your career?
Yeah, so I'm actually working for, I like to think of them as a tech company, but we own a lot of the cell phone towers across the US. And so that's where I work. And right now they have me doing kind of like multiple roles ish. Right now I'm actually doing a lot of like support and like special projects right now.
Support and special projects. So what kind of,
Yeah.
if you can shed some light on what do you mean by special projects? Are they like top secret special projects or?
So like one of the ones I have the chance to kind of help out on is where we're trying to, I won't say trying to, but basically we have a SD-WAN project that we're working on. And so, yeah, they have me getting into that so I can, get back into networking because basically I took a break from it.
Yeah. What flavor of SD-WAN are you playing with?
So we're doing Cisco SD-WAN. So that's why I'm starting to study for CCNP. I've been trying to go full-fledged learning about SD-WAN so that way I can understand it. So that way when we have our meetings, I actually know what they're talking about
Mhm.
and I can actually provide feedback. So yeah, I'm still learning all about it.
Yeah, it's a lot to swallow. There's a lot there for sure. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's super cool though, and it definitely changes the way that network engineers manage their WANs for sure. And it's kind of about time too. We do
Yeah.
everything is so decentralized. Like it used to be everything funneling through a central location, whether it's a headquarters or a data center. But now with cloud and multi-cloud and private cloud and this cloud and that cloud, like everything is just all over the place. And so SD-WAN
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense today.
Yep. So wrapping my head around that, which is nice.
Now, is that Cisco Viptela?
I think so
Okay.
because I've heard them mention it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
so
curious.
Viptela was an acquisition. I want to say it was in like 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're kind of slowly going through the rebranding phase to just Cisco SD-WAN. But I think it's like Secure SD-WAN by Viptela or something like. I forget how they do it, but
Yeah, like it's there, but it doesn't really get mentioned. But I have
yeah.
seen it, so I'm just like, okay.
So how far?
So when you say you own cell towers, I'm sorry, Jay. When you say you own cell towers, do you lease them out to telcos like Verizon Wireless, Sprint?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Small world. I spent 2 years at a knock watching
Nice.
cell tower. Yeah, I work for Comcast knock, and we ran a lot of the last mile between the NMSCs and the cell tower. So small world. I probably monitored your towers. Sorry, AJ.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because it's interesting going from where I was to where now I'm working with a company dealing with cell towers. It's like a whole different world.
And that's a great segue into where were you? Where'd you get started?
So I actually got started for one of the largest oil and gas companies in the world. And basically I was the office admin and I became like the tech go-to person. Everyone, like if they had computer issues, software issues, they're just like, hey, just go to Shala. She sits on our floor, she could take care of it. And anyways, when one of our senior IT people decided to retire, the vice president was like, hey, do you want to take their role? And I was like, sure, without even knowing what the role was. But basically, I became like, I knew she was our senior IT person, but it wasn't until she had to start kind of training me and doing some hands off that I was like, oh, wait, no, I'm a network engineer. Like, what's happening? I have to keep her network running. So that was crazy. And it's for like ships that move all the
Wow.
time in the ocean. It was crazy.
Guess you don't get seasick.
Not anymore. I did when I first got on there. I went through a whole drawer of saltine crackers, and it was a big drawer.
Wow. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. You're working as an office admin. A senior IT person retires, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this? You seem like you're into tech stuff." And
That's
so
exactly what happened.
Was there a team of network engineers or other IT people, or was this just like a really small IT staff?
It turned out to be really small. There was 3 person that went down to 2 people, and then I became the new third. But I became team lead. I became network engineer / administrator / desktop support / executive management's right hand person. So it was a lot.
Wow.
Did you know anything about networking when you took that job?
That's the best part for me. First, let me say, the first 2 to 3 months of taking this role, I needed hugs from, my boyfriend who's now my husband, like every day after work, because I had not even logged onto like a server before because I didn't need to.
Right.
So
That's wild.
You took a job you probably weren't completely qualified for, but you had kind of a technical acumen, I guess, right?
Yeah. And it was known. I was just like, you do know, like once I kind of got into it and started talking, I was like, you do know, like I have like zero experience with this. Like if it's application support, desktop support, that I can do. But I was like, this is something completely different. And dealing with that on ships is something else because that's where I had to deal with like satellite connections, learning how to get on board a ship, like just crazy stuff.
Wow. Wow. So
Man.
just so many questions are going around in my head right now. Cause you said you worked at one of the largest oil and gas companies, and I'm somewhat familiar with oil and gas. I used to work for a manufacturing company that served the oil and gas industry. And so I'm thinking like there's tons of like oil rig platforms. And like you said, there's ships, there's probably branch offices all over the place. And this whole thing ran off of a 3-person IT staff.
For the part that I worked in, yeah. Cause since they're so large, they have like there's a whole like massive IT team. But for this one particular segment, the part of the organization that owned and managed the ships carrying the oil, it was just a 3-person team.
Wow. I mean, still, that sounds like a big undertaking for a 3-person team.
I can't reiterate enough. I needed hugs.
Were you panicked in the beginning when they started giving you things to do and you realized, oh my God, what have I done?
I was. Yeah. Yes. Instantly, I was just like, Shala, we said we were going to do a easy job, which is why I took like office admin, which is like crazy and difficult in its own right. But I was just like, I said we're going to keep it easy and simple. But the moment he asked me, I jumped at it because I always wanted a professional IT role. Back in 1990 something, when cable broadband came out, I remember I wanted to be the person that gets called when the internet's not working. And I didn't even know what the role was at the time. So
that's awesome.
So you
have an interest in tech, right? You're curious.
Yeah.
You just you like it, you dig it.
Yep.
So that's cool. That you just got answered one of my questions. So you're an office admin, but you always wanted an IT role. So there was always some sort of like genuine interest in getting into the IT field.
Oh yeah, I just didn't know how to go about it because actually when the time came when I was in high school and my parents were like, okay, it's time for you to go to college because they set money aside for it. So I didn't have a choice but to go. One, I was supposed to be the second brain surgeon in the family, but
no pressure.
I did my pre-med and I was just like, I don't like this. So they're like, well, you need to figure something else out. My second go-to was to be Steve Irwin. He's a role model.
That is a close second right there.
I wanted to just like travel the world and like, watch and observe animals in their habitat, whatever. My parents were just like, absolutely not. You're tiny. You're going to get hurt. No. They're like, you're tinkering on computers all the time. Go to school for that. And so I ended up going for my bachelor's in computer information systems and then worked as a graphic designer because I didn't like it. But that was because they had me doing more so like normalizing databases and all this kind of stuff. But networking, that's something that I've always had fun doing. I just didn't know it.
So
do they touch on networking in CIS? Like, is that a class you take or no?
I wish they had. I wish they had. I would have like came out the gate as a network engineer. It would have been great.
So they approved of the network engineer desires?
Yeah, because by the time I graduated and kind of started figuring out what I was going to do for a role, computers became like the big thing and they were able to see the money in it. And I'm like, see, I still doctor on patients. It's just when something happens to mine, I just put it in a new body, and I prefer that.
If I had to make an association of network engineer to either brain surgeon or Steve Irwin, there are a lot of days where I feel like it's more Steve Irwin because you get called in to like somebody asks you for help and then you go like, all right, show me what you're doing. And you just like, what are you doing? Like,
yes.
Here's to
So
it.
yeah,
For sure.
definitely more watching the weird creatures as they do
Yeah.
go about their lives.
Yeah,
Wait, so
like I'm sorry, there's just like because you're making me think. There's like some experience I've had where it's something simple about, well, this isn't plugged into an outlet, so start there. There's no power. Like, what are we doing?
Amateur hour.
It won't turn on. I don't understand. Well, it's not plugged in. I mean,
Well,
and then they plug it in.
Who's the-
Oh my god, it works!
yeah, it's surprising.
It's so shocking.
physical layer. Who's the brain surgeon?
Oh, my uncle.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how that went, and I was supposed to be number two. My parents, my grandparents, they had me in like these medical summer camps, like from the age I was like 6 up until high school. So that's what I was supposed to do.
Wow.
So the message is, if you're smart enough to be a brain surgeon, you can just take a net-eng job with no background, no experience, no education, and hit it out of the park. It's not that hard of a career if you're smart enough to be a brain surgeon.
Oh my god. And so yeah, I would say by like that 4th month, I knew what I was doing. I was keeping the ships online because they were going down constantly, and then it started going to where, well, now they're only going down like once every few months. And then after year 1, I got things normalized to where they were only going down like once a year.
Wow.
And when it went down, it was weird. And so that's when I was just like, I need to be a network, like something. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good at it. So
And it was all satcom, I guess, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's spotty, right? Just by its very nature.
A bird can pass by. A
Yeah.
cloud can pass by. Sometimes there's, with ships, there's certain things I can't talk about. But one time we had where this one particular location, the connections would just drop. And so finally I had to make so many phone calls to figure out. You can look on Google, there's no indication. But anyways, there's like secret like silos and stuff. And so the signals are just blocked.
Is it also known as the Bermuda Triangle, or?
Like seriously, it's crazy. One time we've had drop connection because we assumed the queen bee landed on one of the satellite domes, and then like all the bees came, so we had to hire
Oh wow.
a local beekeeper to come get these bees like off. And I mean, it was like the sound of death.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
President send you out there with some bee spray. Shala.
That's where like when stuff like that happen, I'm just like, all right, so this doesn't fall under my role. Like, I'm the network tech person. These are animals. I'm not Steve Irwin. So.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't go.
You had a
that
chance.
Route, so
You had a chance.
no.
It makes for good stories, though. When I was a
Yeah.
cable guy, I used to get chased off of ladders 30 feet in the air by like swarms of wasps coming out of
Oh,
No, thank you.
cable lines on the good times.
oh my god.
Ay.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No.
So, at what point did you decide to go for your CCNA?
So what happened, which is funny, this is 5 years after I've become a network engineer / admin. I decided, you know what? I found out what the CCNA was because I didn't need it. I had the job already. I found out that there was a certification for that, and I decided, oh, I'm gonna take this and like kind of, I guess, prove myself to myself that I can do this. And plus, my mentor who helped get me trained up, I should say that too. I had a mentor, so he passed it, of course, to keep his certification. So I was like, I'm gonna go pass it too. So I will say that if you're starting out and you don't know what you're doing, if you can find a mentor, like you need to do that.
Yeah, definitely helpful. Because why go it alone? I mean, there's plenty of other people that have, either gotten the CCNA or have been in career for a while. Why go it alone when you can get some good solid guidance, some good advice?
Yes, and take notes. Like if you find a mentor and you're asking them questions and stuff, don't repeat the same questions. Like take notes and then build upon the questions you've already asked. So that way they don't get tired of answering your question.
So did you work with Cisco gear on the daily? Is that why you kind of decided to go for the CCNA, or did it just kind of have like a, a kind of name for its own?
So that's the funny part. So when I first started out, we were using different equipment. Like it was not Cisco. Um, I'm not gonna mention what it is because it's kind of laughable. But anyways,
Play School, my first switch.
We ended up switching to like Cisco gear. And so Cisco was like, I've recognized the name, I know what it is. But I didn't really go into depth about the company or anything like that. But once I figured out what the CCNA was, that's when I started digging deeper and deeper into what Cisco is and the certifications and stuff like that. So it was something I worked with. That was it.
Was it hard for you to pass, or you just like studied for a week and knocked it out?
I studied. I legit studied for a good. I tell people this all the time. I legit studied for like a good 2 months, and I did pass it in the first try.
Nice.
But
That brain surgeon thing, AJ.
Now, did you do the single test or did you do the 2 tests?
I did 2 tests because I got scared. One because right when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this test, that whole expiration deadline came out, and then everyone's just like, oh no, if you take the first one, it's gonna be crazy. But in hindsight, I feel like I could have just done the 1 test, and that would have been nice.
But you had like 5 years experience, right? By the time you were studying for this.
Yeah. Like I wasn't just like completely green. So it's just like things were kind of clicking for me. I have physical equipment, so I would tinker on there, which was most of my Twitch streams. It was me basically breaking stuff to just really get an understand for the theories that I was reading, where it's just like, well, you're telling me this is how this works, so let me see if I can break it to make sure this is how it works and I understand it.
So you have a physical lab?
Yeah.
And why did you decide to go physical? Was that like recommendation from your mentor?
No, I went physical because working with the ships, I touched the equipment so much every day. It just felt right to me, to where I was just like, I want to like have this at my house and like completely set this up as if I have no clue what I'm doing and go from there, as well as being able to break stuff, because at work I can't break stuff. I need it to work. So.
And this is something I get beat up for, so let me ask you on the spot. So do you feel that you learn more working on a physical lab than you would have in GNS3 or Eve?
I do.
Thank you.
I do. First, let's start with GNS3. I get asked this all the time, and it's the same answer. I went to install that, and it has so many steps. I just stuck with Packet Tracer and my physical lab. So Packet Tracer was for when I wasn't at home, and then when I was at home, I have the physical lab.
Yeah.
And sometimes I had Notepad. Like I would be studying, like waiting for food, open up like a Notepad app on my phone, and just practice commands.
Interesting. That's a good way to do it. I like that.
Yeah.
Repetition, right?
Yeah.
What kind of what gave you the idea to put yourself out there on Twitch and share your journey with everybody?
I remember the exact moment. I was at lunch at my new job that I had started. This was what, 2019, I guess. And so anyways, I was at my new job at lunch, and I just randomly started practicing subnetting like on paper. And I was like, man, this is so awesome, because at work I would just use calculators, but now it's like, let me make sure I could do it on paper. It was interesting to me. I posted it on Instagram, and next thing I know, a lot of other people liked it. And so I was like, wait, are there like people out in like the social web that finds this interesting? Like it's not just me. And it just kind of went from there. I just basically started posting pictures of what I was studying that day.
So it started with pictures, and so at what point did you? Well, now let me back up a second. Was this at the oil and gas company, or was this a different job?
This was all a different job.
Oh,
This
okay.
was all a different job.
So,
Because the funny part is, I literally decided to take my CCNA after I left my role as a network engineer, so I did it backwards.
you still did it. You got it done. So,
True.
I guess what are some of the other positions you've had since oil and gas and today?
So I've had, what was it? I did systems, and then I went to desktop support. And so I took like a step back. I had network engineering baptism by fire, so I just needed a, a little break time for it.
There weren't enough hugs to get you through the job anymore.
And so I was just like, I'm gonna take a little break, and then I'll get back into it. And that's what I'm doing now. So now I'm working, maneuvering my way to get back into networking. So I'm taking my exams. I'm helping the network team out anytime I can, whatever small task it is. So it's like they know me, they know my name, they know I'll work and get stuff done, and then I could like go that route.
Very cool. So going back to Instagram and Twitch, at what point did you decide to take the social presence to the next level and start live streaming your journey?
What would happen first from IG, people would start messaging me, they had questions, stuff like that, and it was good discussions. And so I started doing like a global virtual study group for CCNA, and that was fun. I had a lot of fun. Jeremy Chara actually randomly kind of popped in to one of my sessions. He asked first.
What?
Yeah, there's like a clip of
Wow.
it. He was just like, "Hey, I like what you're doing," like, and I was like, "Yeah, come on and surprise everybody. We love you." And that was fun. And
That's
then
cool.
all of a sudden, oh, I was watching someone play Zelda on Twitch. Anyone who knows me, I'm a huge Zelda fan. They were playing a speed run, and I was trying to figure out how to beat this one part. And so I was watching them, and then I was like, can I like live stream me studying, and then I could answer all the questions people have and stuff like that in real time. And that's how that happened.
Wow.
And yeah, people would be up with me, from like 6 p.m. to like 2 a.m. I'm just like studying, and they're like studying with me.
Well, no wonder you got
Awesome.
it done in such a short amount of time. You're studying for like 8 hours a night after you get home from work.
Yes, I also gained a lot of weight that I had to burn off this like past 3 months.
Oh yeah, because you get home from work and then you're sitting around at the computer doing the Twitch stream.
I'm like doing a Twitch stream, ordering McDonald's. Eating Big Macs and French fries
Oh boy.
super late at night. I'm not cooking dinner. So yeah, put on some pounds.
It happens. It happens. It happened to me, man. I have put on COVID-19 for sure.
So many people, yes.
I was going through a really awesome weight loss journey last year. I was so proud of myself. I started last August. Me and my wife, we both jumped in together, and in like 6-8 months, I lost over 50 pounds, and I felt amazing. It was great. And then COVID-19, we're stuck at home. It's wintertime. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything, and one thing led to another, and so I got my work cut out for me. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So what was like? I mean, obviously Jeremy stopping in, so like kind of a crowning moment, kind of some recognition that what you're doing is a great thing. But what other fun moments did you have while you were studying for the CCNA and sharing your journey with people?
Really, the people just reaching out. I can't tell you how many discussions I have on LinkedIn through the Messenger app on there, through Twitter, through the Discord server I run, like that. It's just talking to people and just being able to just kind of share, what I've done to help someone else out, where it's just like, this may not exactly work for you, but this is what I did. So here's some things to think about. So I think,
Giving back to the community, right?
yeah, I think that's the most fun. It's just the engagement. And keep in mind, when I was working and networking with the 3 people team, it was kind of like me being on an island because one person, they took care of all our in-house software application stuff. Another person was hardware, and then there was me that did networking, exchange, cybersecurity, like all these other things. So I didn't have really any outlets to just like geek out to people about. Like my friends, my husband, they're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. So
Understand that. My wife's a nurse, and I don't get any medical jargon or anything like that. So we just talk Chinese to each other.
Exactly. That's funny.
It's so funny how that works. Like I'll be having conversations with my wife about like, you know, what we did, and I try to like take some of the layers of tech off, although she's very tech savvy in her own right. Like she sold TV, she sold cell phones, she got into tech
Yeah.
for quite a while, but then apparently I just hit this point, she's just like, AJ, too many details, too many details. And then
That's
she'll be
funny.
telling me her work story. She works at a credit union, and you know, she starts from FDIC, this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, well, honey, English. I don't know what you're saying.
Exactly.
So what's the plan now? Are you working towards your CCNP?
Yeah, so I just started legitimately studying for CCNP just last week, and I started back streaming. So now it's live streaming CCNP.
So are you doing the encore?
Yeah.
And then do you know which other exam you're gonna take?
Yeah, I think I decided to go into enterprise. The thing is part of me wants to do security, but through the company I work at now, I'm also getting more in depth with cloud, and cloud is actually kind of fun. So I have to figure that out.
Which cloud are you working with?
Right now, the only thing I've touched really is Azure.
Azure.
So
How you liking
yeah,
that?
but I like it. It's starting to make sense because I've always known there's a cloud, but I don't know like what's going on with it. You know, I kind of have an idea of the hardware that's in it, but making it all work and what it really is, I'm getting more versed in that, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. How do you like the what do they call it? Like it's like tabs or whatever, you know, as you click something everything shifts to the left basically.
I have no idea, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know if I can get past that. It's just so different for me.
Yeah, so that is something I'm trying to work my brain towards. And so now I'm kind of trying to reach out to like different people I know who do cloud every day, as well as the cloud team at work, to try to, pick their brains.
Yeah.
And I guess find another mentor where I'm just like, okay, what is this cloud business? Like, what is it?
Now, have you been doing any like PowerShell scripting with the Azure, or just straight up like in the dashboard type thing?
It's more so dashboard. I have done some PowerShell, but it's kind of like where they're like, "Hey, here's this script. Put this in and this happens." So,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, yeah, it happened, great, but I don't really know what I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
So,
Did you take the Azure Fundamentals class? I was checking out your giftedlane.com, the Azure 30-day challenge you were doing. So
Yeah.
how was that? I need to sit on that, check it out. Was it helpful?
yes, it was, and it's free through Microsoft. Like they actually gave really good information. I have a whole OneNote where I took notes. Because the company was just like, "Hey, we're gonna get you guys to do this challenge." So I was like, "Fine." And that's when I started going, you know what, cloud is actually kind of fun. So if I could do something, cloud mixed with networking, that'll be cool.
And there isn't like a cloud CCMP, right? Like for a specialty exam, what would you even
Not
take?
yet.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah.
So do you know, like for your second exam, you're going to go like advanced routing, or have you gotten that far figuring it out?
Probably my gut tells me advanced routing, just because like routing and switching, that's my heart.
Right.
That's just kind of where it all starts. So, yeah. That's about as far as I've gotten with figuring it out.
You're not doing enough of the SD-WAN stuff at work to want to go do the SD-WAN specialist?
Okay, so at the beginning of the year, I was like gun ho, where it's just like, okay, I'm gonna do SD-WAN and I'm gonna go down this track because it looks interesting. It looks like something important that you're gonna need to know, type thing.
Yeah.
And then as I start learning SD-WAN, I'm just like, It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
yeah, it is.
There's so many things going on. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but like SD-WAN and automation and cloud and
Yeah.
like there's so much coming at us. I don't know it. I don't know if it's because the Cisco certification track just renewed and changed, or if it's just where the industry's actually going now. But it seems like things they've been talking about for years are all kind of hitting at once.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's hard to pick one. You know, I was going to go for SD-WAN, and then I kind of got pulled into cloud and
Exactly.
talked to somebody at work who's like, yeah, I think you should go into cloud. That could be your niche. And, you know, but then before that, I was automation. Like, oh, well, you know, I should really do that. So it's so hard. I feel like I kind of have ADD right now of all the different technologies
Mhm.
being implemented and
Yep.
which one to pick and learn.
And
And
see that I'm right there with you, Andy. Like I get, just overwhelmed by all the different channels that you can go down. But like right now for me, like data centers, kind of my focus. I kind of like that a lot. But I don't know if it's like one of these things where like, okay, let me ride the data center train for a year or two or something, and then maybe go ride the cloud train for a little bit. And I just don't know how I want to attack that. But right now I'm definitely in.
I mean, I guess we just dabble, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could
Yeah.
spend a year or two just doing SD-WAN, just doing automation, and then you're not like, even like you've said, AJ, how wide, the NA and the NP are now. I mean, it really seems like, and a lot of stuff you read, in the industry and trends and stuff, like they're really looking for more generalists, like, you know a little bit about everything, but you don't have to be the super expert in any one thing. So maybe that's just the direction it's going. Like, just touch a little bit here and there and try to get, a little bit of knowledge on everything. I don't know.
But don't you think that's kind of a trend, in IT in general, right? Like, an OEM announces this hot new thing, and
Oh, yeah.
SD-WAN has been out for a number of years. But when it first came out, people weren't jumping on it. They're like, SD-WAN. They're like, do we really need to do that? Like, or oh, that sounds interesting, but I'll wait till the first service pack or whatever. Like when Microsoft releases a new OS, you don't jump right on it. You wait until SP1 drops and all the bugs are shaken out. And so now
Right.
here we are years later, and the bugs are shaken out of SD-WAN, and people are starting to say, okay, hey, yeah, this does make a lot of sense. We are adopting a lot of cloud or a lot of SaaS or whatever the case may be. And so now people are jumping on it.
It seems like all the bugs shook out all at the same
Yeah.
time. Like,
Yeah.
well, now cloud is good and stable, and so is automation, and so is SD-WAN, and here's some other stuff.
Well,
like,
SDN enables automation. And so all of this kind of came out at the same time, like, oh, we can software define the network, and the network is the WAN, the LAN, and everything in between.
Mhm.
And so and now it's just
that's
kind
the
of
driver.
yeah, now it's just all kind of coming to fruition all at the same time. And so yeah, totally overwhelming, and there's a lot going on. And so I've had to really think about, like, how big do I want to take a bite here? Am I going to go like Anaconda and try to like take in that whole deer, or am I just going to kind of like nibble away at this thing? And so as exciting and as hungry as I've been sometimes, I've had to like take a few steps back and kind of like, pick my lane. What lane do I want to be in? And then, I like data center. I'll dabble with Nexus. I'll dabble with a little bit of ACI. I don't go like terribly deep into it, but I know about it. I can, get in a lot of trouble when I start playing in there. But for the most part, I try to stay in, my lane, which is, enterprise networking. And I really try to focus on SD-WAN. So, but there's no harm in dabbling and exploring.
And that makes sense. Maybe what you're doing in your career can kind of drive some of what you're,
Yeah.
studying, or where you want to go in your career. That could also be another. I wanted to ask you, Shala, just selfishly, because I just started studying for Encore as well. So what do your study sessions, look like? Are you just going through chapters? So like, I know you're doing your study group.
Mhm.
How do you run them? What are you doing?
So, basically what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to take lessons learned from the CCNA, and I'm doing it a little bit different. But there's a video series that I'm using. Of course, anyone who knows me, I love CBT nuggets. So I'm testing that one out. I have the OCG ebook, so I'm doing that, and I'm matching it to the videos in the CBT video series. And then there's also David Bombal. I fell in love with his study material or his content when I was preparing for the second part of the CCNA. And so I'm keeping an eye out for his free videos on YouTube, and I look at that. And then just having discussions. A lot of them happen where people in the Discord server will figure out times to like, do a video call or something like that, and we'll just kind of discuss, different topics. We'll try to discuss topics inside the CCNP channel. And so that's pretty much how I learned. Because I also found value when I was doing the study groups and then doing Twitch. When we would have our conversations, a lot of learning came out of it because you got so many different perspectives.
So when you're studying, are you sitting by yourself, not on Twitch, reading and watching CBT Nuggets, or you're actually streaming all of your studying?
It's both.
Okay.
It just really depends on how I feel. There'll be times where it's just me, and I'm doing my thing. And then other times I'm just like, you know what? I feel like I want some interaction. And so then I'll just throw up a live stream, and then that way we can like talk about it.
Yeah, okay. More discussion. It's not like the streaming fractures your attention and pulls you away from the content. Okay.
Usually what'll happen is as I'm like studying, doing my break fix, as I call it, someone will ask a question and they'll be like, hey, they have an idea or a thought. And then I'm like, hey, let's check it out. Let's see what'll happen. And so it becomes something like just really interactive and fun.
That's cool. You lab somebody's idea, see what happens. Yeah.
Because a lot of people come to find out, they don't have a physical lab, or certain things you can't do in Packet Tracer, or, whatever. And so basically I just end up doing it. And so we just do it together as a group. And the best part is with it being live and, not recorded, what happens.
That's the part I'm scared about.
So has it always been that way where, whatever happens, or did you try to maybe prepare before going live? And like, did you set out to learn in real time with everybody else, or did you set out to teach?
I set out just to do me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Where it's just me having fun learning. And then it turned out, people enjoyed that. So it's really just me just geeking out by myself. But I invited, other people from around the world.
Other
to be a
geeks.
part of it. Yeah. So we learned together. But there are some times where I'll try something out first, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do a live stream, and today's live stream is, this topic, and it's where, I've worked it out and stuff like that. But usually I kind of reserve that more so when I'm doing web design, because that's something I just know like the back of my hand.
Wow. Very cool.
Need to talk to Andy. Andy
Permit
needs some
IP,
web.
Andy.com going.
Yeah.
Do you do any graphic work anymore? I might. I was gonna go to Fiverr, but if
I
I'd be happy to.
I kind of do.
Okay.
That's something I've retired from just because it's
Yeah.
tedious. But sometimes, someone can come to me with a project, and I'm just like, well, this sounds fun, and I might do it.
Nice.
Way to put her on the spot.
Hey,
Yeah.
you
Well,
need
for the
you
whole-
need website work, and she says she loves that. So yes.
I'm more prone to do website work versus graphic. I get asked a lot because of Gifted Lane, and they're just like, hey, can you build me a website? I'm like, maybe. Let's talk about it.
So you've been pretty busy this year. You got your CCNA right before the change, right? You're a Cisco champion.
Yes.
And you joined the ranks of Networking Field Day.
Yes.
What's all
it's
that been like for you?
It's been crazy because I was just posting stuff on IG. I really didn't expect it to go anywhere. I was just like, I find this interesting, and I don't know, it just went from there. So it's been fun because I feel like it's helping me figure out my career path.
Yeah.
So this is, I don't know, it makes me feel like I made the right choice of not doing medical.
Right. You couldn't exactly post your work on medical on
No.
social media.
Ugh, no.
Check out this brain I just took out.
Oh, like, seriously, that would be wild. Like, man, I just did this unbelievable surgery. Like,
What are you talking about? Talking about it. You could Twitch stream it, right?
Oh, jeez. You know, that's probably coming.
Yeah.
I think HIPAA might have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't work
Yeah.
in healthcare, but
Never know.
You don't.
there's a first for
You
everything.
don't. Like, that'll be like a new category in Twitch medical. Like, what is happening?
So you did the Cisco Live extra field day.
Mhm.
And I think if I heard right, you're in a upcoming network field day.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Any
Yeah, that'll
idea who's going to be
what, next
presenting?
week? I do not know yet. I do not know yet, but I'm looking forward to it because the whole thing's like exciting.
I'm super bummed. I got the invite from Tom, who invited me to join you and others on Networking
Yeah.
Field Day 23. And unfortunately, I am already booked to be on site with a customer at that time. And
Oh,
I
no.
tried. I went to my
Because we
boss.
could have been on at the
or-
same time.
I tried to like really think about. I didn't go to my boss. I was gonna go to my boss, and there's only so many of us on the team. We're all already so busy with stuff going on. It's a busy time of year for us, and
Yeah.
I just didn't see a way where I could shuffle my workload and make it to this networking field day. But I told Tom, keep me in mind for the next one.
Nice.
But very cool. I will look forward to watching you and the others on Networking Field Day 23.
Yeah.
23, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
23.
All right, good. So what's next? You got the MP Networking Field Day. Social media is going good. Do you have any plans that you might want to share with us?
Not really. About the only thing I think I want to share next with people is so my first IT role ended up being that networking role, and with that role, that's how I ended up like buying some land and building a house. And so I want to share my journey with that because that's been like a whole other thing. Because I've never built a house before. I didn't really have anyone to ask because my family did it like years ago. My grandfather, he built his own houses with his own two hands. So
Wow.
I had to figure out the whole thing on my own kind of. So I want to share that. Like, what do you do? Because I know a lot of people are like, I want to get into IT because I want to make money, and it's just like, well, that's cool, but what are you gonna do with that money?
Right.
Like, what are your plans?
Right.
How do you maximize it? Stuff like that.
Spend it wisely.
That was a hell of a generation. My grandfather built his own house too. Like I don't know what the hell happened to us, but they would just go out and buy wood and build their own house. Like
We just knocked it down. Like one of them, we just knocked it down. I was just like, good lord. Like it made it through hurricanes. I think he built it. I forget what year, but it was like the 50s or something like that. It's still standing. I'm like, good lord. I was like, I wish.
Right. You kind of already touched on it a little bit already, but what kind of advice would you have for people that they're doing one thing and they want to jump into network engineering or IT, whatever the case may be? What advice would you give to somebody that wants to make that kind of big career jump?
First off, go for it. I say that just because a lot of people, I don't know how many people come to me, male or female, and they're just like, well, I want to be an IT like you, but I'm trying to like finish school or get to school. And I'm like, why? And they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, just go for it. Like, apply, talk to someone on the IT team, become buddies with them, and just do it. It's great you're in school, but and it's helpful. But I'm like, that shouldn't be what stops you. It shouldn't be, oh, I don't know if I'm smart enough or I have enough knowledge. And I'm kind of like, then why are you getting into it? Like if you're hungry for it, be hungry for it and just go for it. I didn't have a lot of knowledge. I took a lot of notes. Like OneNote has been my friend since 2008 ish, I think. And so it's like I still have like all my notebooks. Like I don't care what role, job, company, who I worked for, there's a OneNote for it. I take notes, I take screenshots, I take pictures, I ask a ton of questions. Um, and I just got it done. Because yeah, with the whole networking thing, like I said, I had never even logged into a server before. I knew what IP addresses were for, but I didn't have to ever use them. I had to figure all that stuff out. So I had to go out, read some material. I found a mentor. I asked him a ton of questions until a point I started piecing that whole networking puzzle together. And I still have that one notebook, and I actually have physical notebooks with notes and drawings. And that's something I want to share too at some point eventually. But one of my first major tasks in that role, and I had only been working that role maybe 5 months, they had me go to one of the ships and I had to put in a brand new networking, brand new network for it. So it was all new servers, firewalls, routers, and I've never configured those before at that point.
Oh wow.
But I got it working. I
Wow.
got it working ahead of schedule, which was nice. And they sent me all the way across, like, I was in Singapore. The one person who could help me was way over here in Houston. And he was retired, so. And I remember before they sent me, like, 2 days before they sent me, I said, okay, you guys remember, I've never had any experience with this before. And they're like, yeah, but we have faith in you.
I
That's
can't
incredible.
I can't get over that story. That is such a wild, like, here you
I
go.
can't either.
You're brave. You're so brave.
I'm very risky. It's just like with me building the house, because most people are just like, well, have you ever did this before? Have you talked to anyone? And when I say build, I'm doing it as a builder owner. So I don't have, like, an actual, like, building company building it. I had to get all these different pieces in place because it was cheaper. So
Yeah, true.
I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of a risk taker. But that's why earlier I was saying, Shala, we said we're gonna go for easy. What happened?
That's incredible.
I'm so glad you're saying that. Like, fortune does favor the bold, and I think that it really is a big roadblock. It was for me too.
Mhm.
I always thought that to work in tech, to work in IT, the only way to get in was to have a computer science degree. I don't know where I got this
Exactly.
idea from. I don't know where it came from. I was a CIS major for 3 weeks and just couldn't hack the calculus and C++ that were, prereqs.
Oh,
And
yes.
well, yeah, so, I'm 18 or 19. And that
Mhm.
day I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I don't get to work in IT. I got to figure out something else. And
Yes.
it's so nice to hear you say that, like, just go for it. And, if you have a passion and you want to go after it, and it's really been a nice little side effect of this podcast is, each guest has kind of alluded to that,
Mhm.
there's so many different paths to get, there if you want a job in tech.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, like I
don't.
keep saying, I was an office admin. you know? And
Sure.
so it's crazy. Cause yeah, I have my CIS degree and I didn't know what I was going to do with it because networking was my calling. But back then I didn't just have, like, networking programs. Like, it wasn't as big as a thing as it is today, where I think you can go out and find, like, a networking track. So I didn't know how to get into it. Like, I didn't know.
And it's great that you're out there in the community and on social also, espousing that, like, be bold, go out, go after it, because
Yeah.
people need to hear that. I needed to hear it. And at the time I was studying for the CCNA, I wasn't plugged into the community and I was kind of on an island and just taking a leap of faith. I had a
Mhm.
guy just reach out to me today on Twitter from Nigeria, and he, I guess, found a video I did on YouTube, and I guess he's a help desk guy, and he's, he got like a knock, offer, like an interview, and
Mhm.
he's hitting me, and he's all scared and nervous. Oh, I don't know, and
Yeah.
I've never done this, and I thought long and hard about it, and I asked him some questions, and at the end, I just said, you know what, man, just go for it. You're in help desk, and don't let the fear stop you from going after it,
That part.
because yeah, that's what people need to hear. That's what I needed to hear, and even now when I push myself, a bigger role or a huge project or
Mhm.
whatever it is, like there's always that little voice like, you're not going to be able to do this. You
Yes.
apparently don't have that voice, but
I kind of don't, and people keep
yeah.
telling me that. I just
That's great though. You
I
need to keep sharing that. Like, just don't be afraid. Go after
yeah.
it. You're proof that it paid off. Like, keeps paying off.
Cuz matter of
But
fact, before I forget, one thing I want to say that I think my parents did a really good job at speaking to that is they taught me from a very, very early age not to fear failure. So, and it's a hard thing because you don't want to fail. And then me being, female, I tend to want to not fail. I want to like be great, because I don't want it to be like, oh, well, she's a female or something like that. And I look way younger than I am. I sound younger than I am. So I always have like where I feel like I need to be the best at everything. But yeah, they taught me at an early age, like, don't fear failure. What you can do is learn from it and then do better next time. So that's what I try to do.
It took me decades to learn that lesson. I'm so glad that your
helpful.
parents were able to get it in you, early. It's huge.
Yeah, that's such great advice. I mean, there's such a stigma attached to failure, isn't there?
Yeah.
And you go through and you want to like, study, and are you ready? I'm not sure. I don't want to fail. Like, well, what happens if you fail? Like nobody looks at you differently. You don't put the failures on your resume,
Yeah.
and the fact that you failed, but then you came back and you did it again. Hey, that's great. That shows that you didn't want to give up. You're a fighter, like, so,
Exactly.
I love it. Don't be afraid to fail. A lot of businesses or people like look at, fail fast, fail cheap, and try again, kind of thing. And so you just got to adapt that and keep going.
Yes.
So if people want to join you on your study journey, how can they do that?
So pretty much anywhere socially, if you type in one word, Gifted Lane, you'll find, my Twitter, the website, Twitch channel, IG, all that. And all of that points to Twitch. But basically, if you look for Gifted Lane on Twitch, that's where I do a lot of my live streaming and my study. And there's the Discord group. I don't really promote it that much. It's just if someone happens to pop in and join, that's great. But that's like another easy way to get in contact with me, and where a few of us were like studying different things together.
I feel so bad. Your bot kicked me out.
Yeah, so there. What was funny because I meant to flag you so you wouldn't get kicked out, but yeah, my Discord bot, like, it works.
Yeah, it's true. No, it does great.
Sounds like a bully.
Yeah, well, while we've been talking earlier, I was checking it out, and I tried to join, and the message I got when I first went in was so intimidating. I was like, if you don't post 5 messages every 30 days, your butt is out.
Well,
I was like,
yeah,
wow.
because
I get it, but I'm afraid to join. You got to be hardcore, I think.
it's funny. It's just because I have the people that, joined early and were like a tight niche, group. And it's just kind of like, well, we didn't just want people like joining the server, but they're not actively participating. So it's kind of like, well, which there's a video about it on YouTube on my channel about.
I mean, you want people to contribute. It makes sense,
Yeah,
bring
no
value
lurkers.
to the
You don't like the
experience.
lurkers?
Yeah.
No lurkers.
That's my life on
AJ
social
was-
media.
AJ was lurking and he got booted.
I felt so bad because there was one day I'm just like, oh, I want to go talk to Shala about something, and then I went to click on your Discord. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, just rejoin it, and I'll tag you so the bot will leave you alone.
All right.
And I try to be mindful because we don't just talk tech on there. Sometimes people are going through like life situations, and we help each other out with that.
Oh yeah. I mean, as much as it is like a study group,
conversations.
it's also a support group, right? Like we've all got stuff going on, and it's great to be able to engage with others. I mean, I would say that, we started our study group like literally the week before COVID shut the world down.
Ugh.
And we got on like our second meeting, and I can't remember if I said it to you guys, but I know I was definitely thinking it. I'm just like, we're going to need this study group a whole lot more than we think.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, and it was great.
Mm-hmm. It totally helped.
Yeah,
And
for
then
sure.
there's some people where, not everyone is staying with someone. And so that's kind of their outlet.
Yep.
I didn't even think about
But I have
that.
somebody
Yeah.
to talk to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, she is Shala, and she is Gifted Lane. You can find her, as she said, everywhere on the internet at Gifted Lane, giftedlane.com, on Instagram, on Twitter. Look her up. Join her Discord, study with her, get on her Twitch stream. She'll teach you a thing or two. I absolutely know that. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us tonight, Shayla. I really, really appreciate it.
Yes. This up is Shala.
Oh,
Oh boy.
all right. Maybe I should do that again.
Yeah. I would say so.
Andy, you do
Take
it.
two.
You do it, Andy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
yeah,
the host,
you messed
man.
it up, Andy.
You're the one who wanted to be the host. Go for it, bro.
It's
Messed it up.
did I?
Shala.
It's Shala. What did I say?
Shayla.
Son of
You said it twice. You said it twice.
Shala. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
It's my fault. I put Shayla in your head in the beginning. It's my.
It's
You can
okay.
blame me. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's not your fault, but now I'm gonna blame you anyway.
It's
AJ,
okay. I'll
you
give you
did
the
so
out.
good too. Like,
I know.
like,
I don't think I have it in me to do that all over again.
uh,
Oh no.
This is great. Keep it in. We were talking about it's good to
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Yeah.
I
You'll
failed. I'm proud of it. I've learned, and I will not make that mistake again.
Yeah, because
It's
it
not-
comes it comes from a song. So
What song? Now I gotta know.
what is that? Al Green, Shala La La. So it's a super
Oh.
love song.
okay.
Yeah.
See, now we'll never get it wrong again.
See?
Thank you.
Can we just start saying shala la la la?
Oh my gosh.
Nah.
It totally happens,
Yeah.
and it's almost the time of year for Fa La 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 La.
I gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
Uh,
Yeah, so just try that again, AJ. Just it's shala.
I think we leave it, man. It's
Oh.
good.
Like I said, these are my Twitch streams. Like I fell on there and they like it.
Nice.
Well, this will add some character to this episode for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Shala. Did I get that right?
Yes.
I got it right. All right. Thank you so much for coming on this episode with us tonight. It was a pleasure having you. I know I've learned a thing or two, and so I'm sure we'll get you back again. There's lots more we got to talk about. I want to hear your journey. I would definitely want to keep following you, and I want to see you get that CCNP.
Yeah. Doing that now. But yeah, I've had fun. Thanks for inviting me on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Have a good night, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you so much. Hey everyone, this is AJ. If you like what you heard today, then make sure you subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcatcher. Smash that bell icon to get notified of all of our future episodes. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Art of NetEng. That's Art of NETENG. You can also find us on the web at artofnetworkengineering.com, where we post all of our show notes. You can read blog articles from the co-hosts and guests, and also a lot more news and info from the networking world. Thanks for listening.